Hey everyone, today I want to talk about something that cuts right to the core of how we trust our government. Congress is actually making moves to crack down on corruption. I know, that sounds like a tall order, but stay with me, because this latest push isn't about partisan politics. It's about making sure public service is truly about serving the public, not getting rich on insider info. Here's the deal. Congressman Dave Min has stepped up to defend a bill that would restrict lawmakers from trading stocks while in office. It's called the Stock Act 2.0, and honestly, it's about time. Think about it. Should the people writing our laws be allowed to profit off knowledge the rest of us don't have? I don't think so, and neither does Dave Min. He says this shouldn't be a left vs right thing, it's just common sense. So, let me break down what this bill actually does, quickfire style. 10 things you gotta know. First, it bans members of Congress, the executive branch, and even judges from trading stocks while they're in office. Second, it ramps up the penalties if you break those rules. We're talking real consequences, not a slap on the wrist. Third, it demands crystal clear disclosure, so the public can see what's happening, not months after the fact, but in real time. Number 4, this isn't just for Congress. It covers the entire federal government, because corruption doesn't care what branch you're in. Fifth, there's momentum. Speaker Johnson is actually considering moving this forward. That's a big deal, and it means we could finally see action, not just talk. Sixth, Min and his allies are working on Supreme Court reform, too. The Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal, and Transparency Act would force justices to follow a real code of ethics. Right now, they basically police themselves. 7, there'd be real enforcement for misconduct. Complaints would actually go somewhere. Number 8, Min is co-chairing a new task force inside Congress, the Fighting Corruption Task Force. The idea is to keep this issue front and center and push for reform across the board. 9, they're opening the doors to bipartisan ideas, because, let's be honest, corruption doesn't wear a team jersey. And number 10, this is about restoring trust. If we want people to believe in government again, we need to show that public officials are held to the highest standards, no exceptions. So, if you care about fairness, transparency, and holding power to account, smash that subscribe button. I'll be breaking down every update as this story develops, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching, and remember, public service should always be about the people, not personal gain.
Chair Nyrl recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Min.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member Scanlon. I'm here to discuss a number of bills related to financial conflicts of interest. In May of this year, I introduced H.R. 3779, the Stock Act 2.0, to address a clear conflict of interest that we have seen far too often illustrated here, and that is congressional stock trading. This legislation would strengthen restrictions on individual stock trading by members of Congress, the judiciary, and the executive branch. Critically, it builds on the important foundation of the original Stock Act by improving filing and disclosure requirements of financial reports, increasing penalties for noncompliance, and ensuring real transparency and accountability. Public service is an honor, not an opportunity for self-enrichment at the expense of our constituents. And this should not be a partisan issue. I'm pleased to see so many members from both parties joining on efforts to try to address this issue. We've seen the news reports of members of Congress, members of this administration, members of the judiciary, apparently benefiting from access to information that average Americans don't have, trading on the information we have, cheating the markets. Now, I'm very, very reassured by the fact that Speaker Johnson told Representative Luna that he is strongly considering addressing this issue. And of course, a number of legislative efforts are under discussion right now. This is encouraging, and it underscores the need for accountability across the board. I also want to highlight another important bill being led by my colleague and friend, Representative Hank Johnson, who's been at the forefront of efforts to address the ethical challenges currently facing the Supreme Court. Representative Johnson's Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal, and Transparency Act would require justices of the Supreme Court to adopt and follow a binding code of ethics with an enforcement mechanism for resolving ethics or misconduct complaints. This is a crucial step for restoring the public's trust in the highest court. We cannot just allow them to police themselves. There needs to be some transparency and accountability. Together, these two bills demonstrate a commitment to restoring public trust, which is failing right now in our public institutions and our government. They are efforts to try to ensure that all three branches of government, the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary, are held to the highest standards of ethics and transparency, and that we are holding ourselves to the same standards that we ask of people in other fields. Building on this momentum, I'm pleased to announce the launch of the Congressional Progressive Caucus's Fighting Corruption Task Force. As chair of that new task force, alongside Vice Chair Hank Johnson, we are working right now on efforts to elevate anti-corruption measures across the Democratic caucus. I'm excited to work with several of my colleagues on this initiative, including Representatives Scanlon, DeLuzio, Summer Lee, and Mike Levin. Our first meeting will take place in December, and we look forward to advancing meaningful reforms for Congress. We also welcome input from our Republican colleagues because corruption is not confined to one party, and efforts to try to rein this in should not be confined to any one political party. I'll conclude my remarks by thanking the committee once again for its focus on addressing corruption and safeguarding the integrity of our institutions. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Mr. Min.